Big D Entertainment, in association with Dipsy Doodle Productions, presents The Dave Holly Hour. Brought to you by TJS Ceramic Studio, Posh Boutique in the Bridges at 57th, The Sky & Tea, Excel Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Jesse Moffitt Entertainment, and the Sioux Falls Arts Council. The Dave Holly Hour features Sioux Empire arts and entertainment conversations. A true lover of arts, entertainment, good food, and fun times, including an occasional Jack Daniels. Okay, so a few Jack Daniels. Here he is, Dave Holly.
We are ever so close. This is episode number 199. Next week, we celebrate another milestone. Promises to be another dandy. But on this week's episode, we have a humdinger as well. In a few minutes, we'll hear from a creative that's new to the Sioux Empire. Helen Andrade has been teaching dance for a few decades, enjoys singing as well, and was in the media in Northern California. She's now looking to find an arts and entertainment community to be involved. I bet it might happen here. Then later in the show, we get all the details about this weekend's SiouxperCon in Sioux Falls from convention director Shane Gerlach. But first, let's pop the cork on this bubbly little show. Time to grab your favorite beverage, lift it high, and toast it to being Thursday, a.k.a. Weekend Eve.
Hey, the weekend isn't around the corner, it's here!
So long, hump day and your frumpy way. We say hello to Thursdays with opening nights. The weekend is near and we can see the bright lights. Yes, Thursday, you're so hearty, we can't wait for Friday, so a day early, we start the party. What you are drinking, what you're drinking out of, may be dependent upon when, how, where you are listening. Regardless, lift them high, and it's a simple one today. It's just going to be lift them up to memories and to hope. May fond memories stay with you a lifetime, and may you hope for a lifetime of remembering. The Weekend Eve Toast has been brought to you by the Sky & Tea. Sky provides all campus fun, and that is best had with friends. So have fun playing darts, shooting pool, have fun listening to great live music from local musicians, or have fun pretending that you are one of those great live local musicians by singing at karaoke. You need some extra room to hold a company party or maybe a benefit of some sort? The Sky's back room fits the bill. No matter what's going on at the Sky, it's local and it's lively. Honorable mention. All right, so what made Dave smile? Oh, there was no second this time around, no ties. The honorable mention this week goes out to Junie Bowe, daughter of Allison and John Bowe. John is artistic director at Old Town Dinner Theater, and, well, Santa has come to know his kids over the past few years. Now, my love and I, or should I say Mrs. Claus and Santa, attended a Fox on the Fairway last weekend. John had let Santa know that Junie would be working at the ticket counter and that night, and that the tickets would be under Santa's name. Well, Julie looked adorable and acted oh so professional, not just telling us what table we would be at, but also letting us know how the raffle worked and so forth. She even asked Santa for ID to make sure. When we sat down, John messaged me and said he had told Junie it was pretty cool that Santa was at the show, and she said, "I know, I can't believe it, but I'm trying to be professional." And now we also had to take a selfie to send to her brother Jackson, and he told her to remind me, Santa, that he's been good this year. There were some other touching moments throughout the night about Santa and Junie as well, but just the whole thing was awesome. Oh, yeah. And oh, by the way, so's the play. If you get a chance, go see it yet. All right, later on, we are going to hear from SiouxperCon convention director Shane Gerlach. Up next, dance instructor and media creative Helen Andrade. on the Dave Holly Hour.
Check out the new ceramic studio in Sioux Falls, conveniently located off Kiwanis Avenue on 5th Street. TJS Ceramics, inside Oscar's Mini Storage. We have thousands of classic vintage ceramic mold items and several new items too. TJS Ceramics offers classes, special open studio nights, and completed ready-to-purchase items. Bisque, studio time, or painting parties are available. Visit TJS Ceramics Studio in person today or email tjsceramics@gmail.com for more details.
Comedy magician and hypnotist Jesse Moffat's right. He can't play the piano, but he can sure entertain crowds with his amazing magic and clever quips. His shows always make the participants the stars, especially when they've fallen asleep on stage. They've been hypnotized. Are you the party planner in your group? Then you owe it to your group to make the event magical, even if it puts you to sleep. Here's how.
For booking information, go to Jesse Moffat Entertainment on Facebook. That's JESSEMOFFITT. Or call 605-929-0964.
Are you an artist? Need some funding to further your art? There's a great opportunity for you through a Sioux Falls Arts Council program. The Artist Microgrant program gives away several microgrants to local artists, no matter what art discipline you're in. Unlike more traditional grants, a microgrant is very easy to apply for. Go to artssiouxfalls.org. If you haven't done so yet, create a listing on the Artist Directory, which is beneficial in its own way. Then go to the Artist Microgrants page and apply online. The process is simple. Find out more about the Sioux Falls Arts Council as well online at artssiouxfalls.org.
It's the podcast that creatives in the Sioux Empire listen to so they can learn more about other creatives. It's the Dave Holly Hour.
Welcome back, everybody. Yeah, I'm going to start off with it because you love the way that I do this. Each conversation starting with, "It's always a pleasure." To talk about Sioux Empire Arts and Entertainment. It's always a pleasure to have a new guest on as well. And today we welcome somebody from California that's made her way to Sioux Falls because she wants to be near her grandkids, and that's a great thing. Helen Andrade, how are you?
I'm doing great, Dave. Even better since I met you.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah.
And some of the things that I say a lot, because there's one of my stickers, "Better anytime I see you." That's a common thing that I say, and I always start this, with, "It's always a pleasure." Those stickers will be available at my booth out at SiouxperCon this week, so stop by.
I love it.
You can get some tchotchke, but see, you get the free stuff because you're a guest.
You're very sweet.
Oh, I try.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we have the lollipops in there, too.
I'll give those to my grandkids.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I don't do sugar either.
All right, so you come to us via Northern California, correct? The Bay Area for the most part?
Yeah, I'm from the Bay Area. I originally I was born in Santa Cruz.
Okay.
Right on the ocean, and I'm an ocean lover for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a secondary mermaid. And then I moved to Northern California to Santa Rosa area and grew up there. And that's where I first got into doing some dancing and some singing, and then moved to Marin County, just north of San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I first started my dance studio. So I teach ballroom, Latin, swing, country, all the partner dances, and I've been doing it for 40 years.
And I noticed on the business card it also says weddings, because that is a huge thing, isn't it?
Wedding choreography is a huge deal. Very few people want to just go out on the floor and wing it anymore. They want, they want a choreographed routine.
Yeah.
And so I don't make it complicated, keep it super simple, and I customize it to the music that they bring me.
Okay.
And sometimes it's danceable, sometimes it's not.
Then it goes a little more freeform, huh?
It does go, but I do my best to keep it in the partner dance format.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're kind of besides your own dance company, you also now did somebody actually call you the Queen of the Media?
No,
you just decided
it's a
that's
sarcastic term that's used to describe an agency advertising person. And especially a buyer. So it was always kind of derogatory, but I just turned it around and made it fun.
Yeah.
So
I love it.
Yeah. So since I've had an extensive background in media as well, I just decided to call it Media Queen Productions.
I like it. Yeah. So let's talk more about the dance first, then we'll come back and talk about your media influence as well as the background that you have in it and so forth. So what got you into dance to begin with?
Believe it or not, I've participated in numerous concerts. I attended numerous concerts when I was really young.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually my first rock concert was when I was 13 years old.
Who was it?
And it was The Doors.
Oh, wow.
Who I adored. And I started just kind of freeform dancing.
Yeah.
And I've been to Altamont. I was at Altamont when I was 14, if you could believe it. I've been all over the Bay Area and to every concert known to man, from the Rolling Stones to great, jazz musicians to you name it. So that's kind of what inspired me originally. And then I started taking ballet in college and got a foundation there and some ethnic dance.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got into belly dancing. And that was much to my father's chagrin. I was in my I was actually 19. And I joined a dance studio in the East Bay in California. And I trained as a belly dancer and performed.
Mm-hmm.
So I have all sorts of photos to show you at some point later.
Mostly in clubs or?
I danced in studios and in a lot of Middle Eastern clubs.
Okay.
There was a place called the Casbah in San Francisco.
Oh, my.
Danced there. It was a lot of fun. I loved it. My father hated it, but I loved it.
Yeah.
And so that kind of was my first formal dance style.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, I got into ballroom dancing when I was 23. And I studied at Arthur Murray and a lot of other major studios in San Francisco, which most people probably wouldn't know the names of. But in any event, I fell in love with ballroom, Latin, and swing. And I was inspired by my mother because my mother was a dance instructor.
Oh, okay.
That's how she met my dad.
and would she or you have gotten a 10 from Len?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Well, they do have a local Dancing with the Stars.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
I would love to find out.
We'll get you all connected. Don't worry.
Okay, super.
Good stuff. All right. So Steppin' Out Dance, people can contact you. And it's still obviously a California cell phone number.
Same phone number as California.
Yeah, okay.
New address.
Yeah, exactly.
Sioux Falls.
Yeah, just a short move.
Yeah.
And your phone number is 707-292-8795. We'll repeat that again at the end of our conversation, but it looks like you just have had a fun life in the arts and in the entertainment world and the media world. So you, besides dance, you also sing, perform in a variety of ways too. Tell us about that.
I fell in love with singing in, I think it was elementary school. And I started to sing in choruses and choirs from that point on, all through school. And then later on, I went to College of Marin in Marin County and joined a jazz choir and absolutely fell in love with jazz. That's my all-time favorite. So, and I've also sung with gospel choirs in the North Bay. I've had a lot of experience. I love it, and I look forward to getting back into it here.
Yeah, so you're looking to get into some singing, some performing. You're also looking to obviously have people come by and learn dance with you.
Absolutely.
What made you decide to be the dance teacher, though?
I've always loved teaching, and I was originally going to go into teaching. That was going to be my major, and then my dad, who was a teacher, said, "Don't do it." He said, "You'll never make any money." Well, guess what? I ended up falling into teaching anyway.
Right.
But it was teaching dance.
Yeah.
And I think that some people are just born with that ability to teach. It's definitely a passion of mine. I love working with other people and bringing them joy through dance. It is incredibly enriching. And it's a passion of mine. I love to teach and dance. It's a great combo for me.
And you do have a studio space at this time that you rent,
I do.
correct?
Yeah, I'm renting from Midwest Dance Center on Marion Drive, just a short distance from where I live. Great studio, lovely owner. His name's Jeffrey. He's the best. And I'm renting space there. And teaching all ages, mostly adults at this point, but I've also taught kids, and I definitely do a lot of work with seniors as well.
Yeah, that's very interesting. You were telling me about this, that you really like to get into senior centers and assisted livings and so forth. And that sounds like it's not just a great way to provide dance, but it sounds like it's very rewarding and heart-filled, too.
Yeah, it's a definite passion of mine. I was very, very, very close with my grandmother. I was closer with her than both my parents, and I think she was the inspiration there. And she had Alzheimer's, and so I found that going into senior communities at all levels of care, whether it's independent or assisted living or memory care, it brings the life back into people. The light in their eyes turns on, and they get so excited to hear the music of their era, whether it's the foxtrot or swing and big band or the waltz. So I teach a modified ballroom program for all levels of care. So they don't have to get up. They can stay seated, and I still dance with them. So there's a musical portion of it where they play instruments along with the music. I do some dance history and music history. I perform for them, engage with them dancing, and do a little trivia quiz at the end where they all win prizes.
Oh, sure. Another
with lots
trivia
of prompts.
host in town.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is, you mentioned jazz in terms of you like to sing jazz, perform jazz. But what about jazz dance? How far up in the ranking is that for you?
I appreciate jazz dance and love it. And I have taken classes in jazz dance, but it's not my greatest strength. But I greatly appreciate it. I love jazz music and jazz dance, both. That's pretty much what I listen to.
Well, we have a little bit of jazz around here from time to time.
I bet you do. Yeah.
Because that also happens to be one of my favorite is jazz. It's in fact, it's the only thing I still have left from high school.
Yeah.
The Letterman's jacket, any, ribbons, stuff like that, long gone.
Right.
But I still have my 1981 Central Line High School Louis Armstrong Jazz Award.
I love it.
That will never leave.
Yeah. And as we were saying earlier, the show tunes are my all-time favorites.
Yeah.
So when I sing, I usually do show tunes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You karaoke at all?
I haven't in a long time.
Well, I think
might have to try it again.
Yes, we might have to do that.
Yeah.
But, so it's great that you've moved to town. Obviously, a big reason. You got your grandkids here.
Yeah, I love my grandchildren.
That's awesome. Yeah. But how have you found Sioux Falls so far?
So far, I like it a lot. It wasn't as big of an adjustment as I thought it would be. The challenge is simply building up my connections here and getting a sense of community again, because I was in California. I've been in California all my life, and I danced for 40 years and taught for 40 years. So I had a huge following. So that's the challenge, is just getting connected, which you've helped me with greatly today, because you've given me a number of great contacts. I really appreciate it.
I might know a person or two in the arts and entertainment.
Yeah, I think you do.
Well, it's great to have you, but that's the dance and the performance and so forth isn't all, as you are media queen.
Yes.
And so you've done radio.
I have.
All right. You've done a little television.
Yep.
Okay. You do some voiceover work.
Yes, and digital.
And digital. Yeah. And that's the other thing is, there's a great amount of digital media now.
I know.
And so is there anything specific you're looking for here as that other part of your life?
I'm looking at the possibility of doing some remote work with a radio station or maybe an agency. I do copywriting, I do voiceover, but I also have been in advertising sales most of my life. So I've had a dual career.
Right.
And I've worked for all the major market stations in San Francisco. And I would like to do that again, maybe on a part-time remote basis. Yeah. So I have time for all the other good stuff.
Very true.
Right.
But what made you get down that path then? How did that start?
That's an interesting story.
We have time. It's a podcast. We're not limited.
I was working for a health club, one of the top health clubs in San Francisco, in my 20s. And that happened to be the health club that was the one. It was right between Sansom and Battery Streets in San Francisco, where all the advertising agencies went. So I met just a host of media people while working at that club. And they told me that they loved their jobs. They made a great amount of money. And that, it was just the best thing in the world. And I just thought about it, and I interviewed a whole bunch of people in advertising agencies and local radio and did informational interviews and ended up landing at KNUK-SAN in San Francisco, which is a country station, or was one. Yes.
And doing what at that point then?
I was in advertising sales. Yeah.
But you did end up being on the air at some of these places too, didn't you?
I also have done commercials and on-air work. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But not as a host per se.
Okay.
Yeah. Mostly voiceover.
What has been your favorite part of all of your media stuff? Is there one thing that sticks out that, boy, if I had to narrow my life down to doing one thing, I would do this?
I would love to just produce voiceovers, produce commercials at this point in my life. I did radio for 30 years, and I got a little burnout on doing it full time. So as I said, if I could do something with flexibility in the sales arena or in the voiceover arena, I would be very, very happy.
Right. And with that, the production of it, not just doing the voice, but the production and so forth. You have the copywriting skills behind it well to back it up. So, you're kind of I'd say you're a media queen for people that way then.
And that is the name of the business. Yeah, I still have several clients in California that I work with, and I book
that's great.
Yeah, I book their advertising for them. I write their copy and do the voiceover work.
Well, and that's the great thing about that particular business is you can do it remotely.
Yes,
very easily.
Very easily.
Yeah,
not a problem at all.
Yeah, and I know a guy that occasionally has some voiceover work for other people too.
Yeah, I think it might be you.
Could be.
Yeah. Okay. I was just curious. Yeah.
So what are the other types of things that you would like to get into besides those two facets then? And anything else, you want to get out and perform more? Or
I would love to perform more. The tricky part around ballroom is that you need to find a good dance partner. So if there's somebody out there that loves ballroom, Latin swing, and all the partner dances and would be interested in performing, I would love to hook up with that person, and hopefully they have a lot of experience and do some more performing. I would love to do that.
Yeah. I have the feeling that there's a lot ahead of you. Having made your way here now, and we're going to welcome you with open arms.
Well, thank you.
I think one of the things you will find, and the word comes up so often on this show, is that arts and entertainment in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, is collaborative, not competitive.
That's really good to hear.
Yeah, we all want our share of the pie.
Yep.
And obviously we need to have our shares of the pie and so forth, but you will find that, a person in this group will also perform in this group in 3 or 4 different things throughout a year. And so there's not this headbutting and so forth that's always going on.
Right.
So that's why I think that you're going to slip right in and enjoy life in the media and the arts and entertainment here in Sioux Falls.
Thank you. Yeah, I found it to be very, people are very kind and very supportive of what I'm doing, rather than being competitive, because I met other ballroom dancers here and had really nice conversations with them, and they're like, God bless you, do your thing. We're happy you're here. Very different attitude than San Francisco, where it's highly competitive.
Yeah, and that is the best thing is that, because this is a growing community. I grew up just a half hour away from here, and when I was 16 and could first drive here, the population sign read 68,000. Now it's 208,000.
So I hear. All those people moving from California.
True.
And Colorado.
Yeah, a lot of different places that people have come in for. But I think that's the great thing is that we welcome people, and we want, there's one thing that I've always enjoyed about this town is that there's not so much wanting somebody to fail. We want people to succeed.
Yeah.
And that's very great especially if somebody's coming in from the outside.
Absolutely. And like I said, I've found people to be very, very welcoming.
All right. And so...
Especially you.
Well, thank you.
And your wife, Gary.
She is a dandy, no doubt about that. My love keeps bringing me stuff. You know, she actually does have the title of executive director.
Oh,
now,
okay. Wonderful.
Yeah, she's
a great lady.
That she is.
Yeah.
All righty. And so I have two questions I'd like to finish up with each time. The first question, depending upon the answer, might mean we don't need to ask the second one. But when you are not part of the arts and entertainment scene, what do you like to be entertained by?
Well, I love musicals. All the old musicals I love. I love great theater, and we had so much of it in San Francisco. I mean, ACT Theater's right there. SF Ballet's there. I mean, I grew up around those things, and that just further inspired me to get involved in the arts. You know, and as I said, I hit every rock concert known to man, so from a very early age.
There's another person I need to introduce you to. All right, so aside from that, then, any other hobbies?
Other hobbies, definitely. I love to swim, and that's a tricky thing here. I did find a place with a pool, but I do miss the ocean,
right.
And I'm looking for some nice swimming lakes. And then I also horseback ride. And adore that. I think that might be even easier to find than somewhere to go swimming around here. I don't know.
Very true.
Yeah. I have a lot of different hobbies. I love to write. I'm working on my autobiography right now. Went through a course last year, and I've already started on that.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I've got a lot of things going.
Do we have a title to this autobiography?
Not yet.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm tossing around different ideas.
Mine is going to be, My Name's Not
My name's not
Emmett. Comes from a wonderful little happening when I was 4 years old. You know, back then, seats in a vehicle were straight across in the front seat. Yeah. And people didn't really wear seatbelts at that time.
No, they didn't.
Nope. And so my sister, who's 12 years my senior, is sitting in the passenger side. So she's 16. My dad is driving, and I'm standing up, 4-year-old, standing up in the middle. And he takes a sharp turn, and I fall down into him. And he goes, "Damn it, sit down." And I start to cry and say, "My name's not Emmett, it's David."
Oh, my gosh.
So that will be the title of my autobiography.
I prefer Emmett to Dammit.
All right. Well, Helen Andrade, it's been a fantastic time getting to know you more today, and I appreciate you taking time to be on our show.
Well, I really appreciate your taking the time to interview me.
No problem.
Great meeting you.
I'm sure there will be more than one guest appearance.
I think so.
All righty. Appreciate it. And we'll be back with more of the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment.
Helping women feel empowered and confident is what Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th does, while supplying high-quality clothing that fits your lifestyle, personality, and price point. Whether you want comfy and cozy, casual attire, or something for a special occasion, Posh provides quality, selection, and value. They carry sizes extra small to 3X and have something appropriate for any age. Feel empowered and get confident. Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th.
Dr. Perry Langston and Dr. Corey Tooney know excellence is in you. That's why they provide you with excellent care at Exo Chiropractic, improving your overall health in spirit, body, mind, and will. Get results the natural way. Arrange a consultation, 605-332-9235 or exokairos.com. Excellent care for excellent people. Exo Chiropractic, located at 4309 South Racket Drive in Sioux Falls.
The Dave Holly Hour, like eavesdropping on a great conversation between two very interesting people.
Welcome back, everybody. Oh, my goodness, am I excited, because, yes, I'm going to say it right off the bat like I always do. It's always a pleasure to talk Sioux Empire arts and entertainment, and this happens to be SiouxperCon weekend. Convention Director Shane Gerlach is here to give us all the details, and We'll just have a bunch of fun anyway. Shane, how are you?
I am old and stressed, but that's every day, David. So
I hear you on that here. Well, first of all, we've got a little libation in front of us. Cheers to another successful SiouxperCon that is coming up, and looking forward to it. There's such great variety, and I've been telling people that aren't really familiar with it, maybe some people new to town and so forth. I'll mention, the big Comic-Con. I said this is our version, but don't sit there and think it's small. It's huge.
Yeah.
And the number that you keep drawing just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger every year.
So I think about that first year, a group of us, Brian Brockmeyer, Brandon Smith, Josh, Cassie, and I put everything together. And after we sold, and we were at the Ramada.
I recall.
And we had one panel room. We had the breezeway, right? And we had the basement for the vendors, basement, which you thought was huge, but that's just because one wall was mirrored. So after we sold the vendor slots, we put everything else on our credit cards. Brian and I did.
Mm-hmm.
Danny and Joe bought the lanyards, but Brian and I put the facility and the hotel rooms on our credit cards. Big risk, and especially because we're both married. So we needed 500 people to break even. And by 1 o'clock Saturday, we had to send a runner to the dollar store to buy those beer tent tear-off wristbands because we were out of lanyards.
Wow.
We did 1,200 the first year. Last year, year 7, we did 7,100 people.
Oh, my goodness.
So the growth in 7 years from 1,200 people in a breezeway and a basement to the largest facility in the state, 7,100 people. Nelson Zephyr, our board president, thinks we'll pull 10,000 this year. He's an optimist.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a pessimist. I am hoping for 8 to 9.
As long as it's higher than last year.
Right. And I believe it will be. One of the things that hurts us a little bit, not too bad, but just a little bit, is the Festival of Bands for the first time is not behind us. It's next weekend. And I'll be at that with the Jefferson Marching Band, but usually we get a little carryover, in between. People would come and just buy a day pass. But geez, pre-sales, Saturday is going to be stupid. Oh my God. So we just continue to grow. We added the arena this year, so we literally have every square foot of the Sioux Falls Convention Center and arena. So any of it that's not named the Denny, we have. Every breakout room, the breezeway, all 3 of the convention rooms, and the arena. I don't know, it's like 82 billion square feet or something.
Well, I said we collectively because I'm going to be one of the vendors this year.
This is amazing. And Dave, you've been involved in different ways off and on, kind of since the start.
Yeah,
so
true.
This is great that you're going to be a vendor out there this year. And I think that people will, you're well known in the area, people will take highly to that. You'll do well. But, man, take advantage and take the mic and interview some of the people.
Exactly.
Man, for sure.
Yeah, the bag's all packed.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You got a captive audience.
and this tub over here is all merch.
Perfect.
Yeah,
perfect.
We're ready. We're ready. We got signage. We're set.
I'm paying them to be there. You might as well trap them.
Come on over. Let's chat for a little bit. I certainly will be doing that.
Smart.
Okay, so let's break it down.
Okay.
So we've talked the numbers about the vendors and the artists and so forth. You keep bringing in big names, though.
Yeah.
I mean, did you think you would get this fortunate eventually?
Eventually, yeah. And so people ask me often, how do you get these people here? And quite simply, we ask. There's unfortunately still this mindset that people won't come to Sioux Falls or South Dakota in general. Our mutual friend, Toby Kane, and I have had many conversations about why do we only get 70s rock and new country concerts here. And it's because that's what the radio stations play, right? So that's what's popular. And there's this mindset, 21 Pilots, Taylor Swift, whoever won't play here, right? Well, of course they will. Garth Brooks played here at the height of his career and sold out
several times.
Yeah, sold out 3 nights in a row, had to keep adding nights.
Yeah.
So we draw because there's not a lot of competition, right? So you ask, and you ask a CJ Graham like we had last year that was Jason and Friday the 13th, and he's like, I ain't doing nothing else, sure. Ask Sean Gunn this year, and it was great. And by the way, Sean Gunn, So I'm an idiot, and let's just get that on record. I thought, here I am. I'm going to book an Avengers and Marvel Universe star. That was cool, right? And then the Argus Leader ran one little blurb that Kirk from Gilmore Girls was coming to Sioux Falls, and we had like 9,000 hits. I've never watched an episode of Gilmore Girls, but your fandom is strong. That fandom is strong. So then I had to go
especially thanks to streaming.
Yes. Number one show on Netflix.
Yeah.
Number one show on Netflix. So Sean Gunn coming is probably, our biggest name that we've had yet. He's really relevant. The Gilmore Girls reunion just happened on Netflix, and then of course Guardians of the Galaxy, one of the biggest movies of the year. If you have Disney Plus, he's on every Avengers movie. Mm-hmm. So that was a big get for us, and
those Guardians mixtapes are awesome.
Oh yeah, no, they're amazing.
Yeah.
They're amazing, and they just keep moving the decades up. Yep. They're fantastic. I think that one's cool. Jim Cummings, who's the voice of all of our childhoods: Winnie the Pooh, Darkwing Duck, Tigger, Pete from Mickey Mouse. I mean, on and on. So many characters. He right now is outpacing by 2-1 everyone else for sales with photos.
Whoa.
Yeah, because he's multi-generational.
That's true. Yeah.
He is multi-generational. The generation below me, my nieces, my nephews, Darkwing Duck and that Disney afternoon when they get home from school and watch those cartoons, he's part of that. My son's generation, he's part of Star Wars Rebels. Mm-hmm. My generation, he's Winnie the Pooh and he's Tigger.
Exactly.
From all those great, Wonderful World of Disney, that we'd watch after Lawrence Welk on Sundays.
Oh, and don't forget Mutual of Omaha was on that
right,
too.
Right,
yes.
Saturday. Was Mutual of Omaha Saturday?
I think Mutual of Omaha was Sunday.
Was it? I'll stand over here while Dave attacks this tiger. I'll stand safely over here. Yeah, those were great shows. And so Jim Cummings, I'm really excited about. We have Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 coming. That's not a bad gig. And horror fans, you all are also like crazy. Like there is I didn't realize what a big horror fandom there was in Sioux Falls.
Right.
Huge.
Scream from the Basement.
Right. Those guys are great.
Oh, they are, aren't they?
Yeah. And they're running our film festival this year. Casey and Sam are amazing. And that's another thing, that we've added the last few years is the film festival, and that gives such a great opportunity for young filmmakers to get an audience, to get feedback, live feedback. Here's my film. What do you think of it? And so that's pretty cool. There's so much going on. But yeah, the stars, get back to your question. I knew we'd get there. I didn't know that we'd get there now, which is pretty cool. It's pretty dang cool.
That's
to have someone
sure.
that current, a top box office movie of 2023 coming to Sioux Falls. Yeah, pretty good stuff.
I think that you might have to. Did you have a bet with Mr. Sevier about the number?
No, I don't.
No friendly wager?
I don't. I think
because I have the feeling you'd be owing him.
I probably would. It's going to be a beautiful weekend. We're blessed. The weather's going to be 80s. So we could pull bigger than I think. I keep looking at those pre-sale numbers, just jumping and jumping and jumping. I log on and I look, and I'll go away for a few hours and come back, and there's another 100 to 200 pre-sales done in like 3 hours. So if those are any indication, and here's what I know, Dave, and you've grown up, this area. South Dakotans are horrible about pre-registering. Yes, we're horrible. We show up at a restaurant on Mother's Day and expect immediate seating. Why is everyone else here? We are a walk-up society here in South Dakota. We just expect, I'll drive into town and, they'll have plenty of room. They'll have plenty of tickets, so walk-up has always been our biggest. Pre-sales are great this year. And we'll do 4 to 5 times that on walk-up.
Well, and that's why all the sports around here start at 5 minutes after the top of the hour.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We're going to have a couple more.
So that's not just a TBS Superstation thing?
No. I know that we've talked in the past about your love of comics. And that was the beginning of it. Wasn't it you'd be on road trips out to the Black Hills?
Yeah.
And read those comic
books?
Yep.
Yeah, Dad would Dad would go down to Hyritz Rexall Drug and get me a bag full of quarter comics, so I would not torment my sister as we sat in the back seat of the 1977 Charger on our way from Flanders to Oh, yeah. So I had that car. Dad sold me that car, and I sold it. And to this day, I kick myself. Just stupid. But, it's I would read these comics. I devoured them. And so 4 doors down from my mom and dad's beauty shop was the drugstore, where they had a huge comic rack and magazine rack. And I would literally sit on the floor in front of the front door. My friend David Kringen and I would sit on the floor and read the comics, and they let us, because they knew we were going to buy them.
Exactly.
We were so excited, when the new comics came in. Right. Yeah. So we'd buy them, and we'd trade here and there, and he was a big fan of Green Arrow and Green Lantern, so he'd buy those, and I was Avengers and Batman, so I'd buy those, and we'd just swap, We lived one house away from each other, so we could literally holler at each other when we were done, So that was, a big part of it. I'm 55 years old, and I still read comic books. I read a lot of graphic novels. It relaxes me. It's something I enjoy. And for those who think that they're childish, we're talking Pulitzer Prize winning books like Mouse that dealt with, the concentration camps of World War II, and amazing books that you wouldn't think that they'd been made in movies, like Road to Perdition was a graphic novel, and a great movie, a wonderful movie, Cannes award-winning movie. History of Violence, another one, Cannes award-winning movie based off a graphic novel. So the comic books of your youth have grown up, and we have some amazing comic book creators. We have not forgotten our comic book roots. We have 30 different comic book creators coming to SiouxperCon, so they're still the majority of our guests.
Right, and then there's this illustrator that also does caricatures named Hector Carrillo.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
Wow, 2 books out now.
Yeah.
He's winning awards with those as well.
Yeah.
The first one is all about a real-life superhero.
Yes.
From South Dakota, Joe Foss.
So last year, the South Dakota Humanities Council asked us if they could get a booth for Hector, and we were, of course. So this year, I invited him back.
Mm-hmm.
He did such great work last year, and people just gravitate towards him. He has such a wonderful personality. He's such a kind man. And his
very
characters
warm
are great.
Human being.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So, Hector will be in the Kid Zone this year. I have 3 artists in the Kid Zone this year. Hector, Dave Wheeler from Minneapolis, Minnesota, that does a teen and young readers graphic novel line.
Mm-hmm.
Just a wonderful man. He's been with us every single year. Brian and I went up to FallCon in Minneapolis. Right, and recruited, literally stole guests off their floor. Said, hey, we're going to throw a convention. Would you come down? And Dave was one of our first guests. And then our third guest there is from Iowa. His name is Eric Gapster. And he does he's done a ton of work for DC, wonderful artist, but he has a young readers graphic novel series out called Sort of Super. And it's about a 10-year-old boy who gets superpowers. And the South Dakota Humanities Council this year gave SiouxperCon a $13,000 grant, and we will be giving away We'll be giving away 1,000 copies of his new book, Sort of Super, the Magma Cup, and to all young readers. I don't care your age, reluctant readers, comic book fans, parents, grab one for that kid who doesn't like to read because it's very dynamic, very funny. And we're going to be giving those away, and he'll be signing the books and doing little sketches in them for the kids. I'm very grateful to the South Dakota Humanities Council for this opportunity. We need to get more kids engaged in reading.
Exactly.
It's so easy to grab a tablet and watch, right?
Yeah.
It's so easy to have 18 million streaming and watch, and we forget the power of literature, because what happens off the page is as important as what happens on the page. So in between panels of a comic book, what's happening in between there, my imagination has to fill that in. And it's beautiful. And you find more and more schools using graphic novels for the reluctant readers. And I think it's smart. The graphic part of it plus the storytelling, You get it in context, with the speech bubbles coming from, and then the narration panels on the side. Yeah, it's a great way to engage readers of all ages.
Yeah, and I guess one of the things that I think is great about when we get kids to read, one of the things I would like to tell them when they're big film or TV and just streaming and doing whatever is, somebody had to write that script.
Absolutely.
And they probably are voracious readers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. You don't write by accident.
No. Yeah.
What's the old saying, Dave? Every good idea has been taken, right? It's, we steal off, and we do, how many riffs are there on the young boy in danger story? We can go back to, Jason and the Argonauts all the ways through, Huck Finn and on and on and on, Harry Potter. My boy's favorite book is they're a Rick Riordan series. And it's about a young boy who finds out that he's part of the Greek pantheon, reborn in this age. So that young man in peril story, is generational, and so it's just a riff on the next story, right? It's a riff on the last thing. So pretty cool. Yeah. Pretty cool.
Another great thing is the fact that that is part of what makes it such a great family event. That, and we hadn't mentioned it yet, but cosplay.
Oh my gosh.
Just the sights of this show.
They spend a whole year putting their costumes together, and they take great pride in it. So the first year we were organizing, Cassie, who originally did our cosplay, she's a cosplayer. I didn't get it. Right. I'm like, we'll have 10, 12 people. No, they were out the door, literally out the door of the Ramada, filled the whole breezeway, and we're out the door. And it's the most visual. Like if you see our articles, if you were to, Google SiouxperCon and you pull up the Argus Leader or Kello or Dakota News Now, the photos are always of the cosplayers.
True.
Because they're dynamic.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. I suppose we'll have 100 people go across the stage on Saturday for the adult competition. And then on Sunday, the kids competition is always cute. Bring your kids out. They can wear the Halloween costume twice.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
But some of these kids are, Mom, we need to do it this way. Dad, can you make me this? Or Mom, can you make me this? Dude, amazing costumes even on the children. And it's so neat. And I think there's a little bit of empowerment there. I identify with a character. So I may be ostracized at my high school. I may be, don't feel like I fit in. But when I put on this costume of this character, now
I become that.
Right. I did theater, and you have to be Smee, Shane. You have to be the bumbling idiot next to Captain Hook. You have to be this character, and you literally, become that for an hour and a half, 2 hours on the stage, and it starts with the makeup and the costuming, and you begin to feel yourself get into character, and you move on. And I think that's the same thing that happens with our cosplayers as they put on the pieces of their armor, sometimes literally, but as they put on these pieces of the costume, you can see their confidence.
Intricacy to it, too.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Say a year. They will start planning for 2024 the minute 2023 is done.
Yeah.
And some of them will wear a different cosplay each day. They'll wear a Friday, they'll wear a Saturday for the competition, and then they'll wear a Sunday. Yeah, we have 4. Cosplay has gotten so big that we have 4 cosplay guests this year. Night Mage Cosplay, who is a police officer by day, and he has been named Male Cosplayer of the Year, like many years running. He was here last year for us. Pride of Sioux Falls is sponsoring him this year. We have Celtic Honey coming in from Illinois. We have Hannah Eva from Minnesota, and a gentleman named Frankly Built Cosplay. And he does Iron Man costumes that are voice controlled. Like they turn on and off, the mask opens just like if it was Tony Stark in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. He has like his own Jarvis system built into his Iron Man universe. And he has like 20 of them that he's made, like Hollywood level. So we start out with no cosplay guests, and then, we'll bring in one. Now 4 of our guests are cosplay guests, and they'll be judging the competition. and very kind. They're all so kind. There's never like, you could have done better. It's like, this is great. Keep working on that. The encouragement, and I really appreciate that from them. I've had so many mothers come up to me and hold me, David, just hold me and say, my daughter, my son felt accepted here. And tears welling up in their eyes,
And probably yours too.
Oh, for sure, for sure. We were out at Pride 2 years ago. We booth at Pride every year. And 2 years ago, this young man came up to me, and I didn't recognize him, but he recognized me. And he said, I wanted to tell you something. He says, because of SiouxperCon, I had the courage to tell my father I was going to fashion design school instead of engineering school.
Wow.
Because he'd been so accepted from his creations of his costumes, of his cosplay at SiouxperCon. That's enough.
Yeah.
Like, if that's the greatest thing I do in my life, that's enough.
Yeah, no doubt.
To give that platform to someone like that.
All right. Before we go through the particulars of time, price, etc., also, there's the After Dark situation.
Yeah.
And let's see, you've got burlesque back, and wrestling's always been a favorite.
Yeah. So your fandom doesn't end at a certain age. So we've created, from the start, we've had SiouxperCon After Dark. So 18 and plus after 7:30. So the vendor hall closes at 7:30, and then we have After Dark. And that includes panels. The video games might be a little more violent. Like we go to Call of Duty now, where you're shooting up people instead of, Super Smash Brothers or Mario Kart. So we keep it very family friendly during the day. But put the kids to bed.
Yeah.
And come out and celebrate your fandom. So on Friday night, we have Flagship Pro Wrestling. We're bringing in 2 professional wrestlers this year. Eric Redbeard, who was in WWE with the Wyatt family, and WWE Hall of Famer and Heisman Trophy vote getter Ron Simmons from Florida State University. So he'll be coming in. And then there's a cosplay dance. There's some adult panels, a body painting panel. There's a tattoo contest going on. A pop culture tattoo contest Friday night. There is a burlesque class Friday night. There's some more. We're going to show Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 with
which I've heard is phenomenal.
Yeah, with Stretch and Leatherface, the actors that played them. So you'll get to watch the movie with them, which, wow. And just a lot of fun. So the night ends with a couple of things: the cosplay dance, and then every year at 11 o'clock, I end the night with a panel from 11 to 12 called Drinking with Shane. No flash photography or recording allowed. And then Saturday night, the big thing is, of course, our burlesque show. Vodevil Burlesque puts on a show. We have 2 amazing guests coming in this year, Trey DeMarc and Heather and Lace. And they put in so much work. And this year,
talk about costume.
Oof. Right. And so it's fantastic. And we pull 300 people in South Dakota for burlesque.
Yeah.
In South Dakota.
Right.
For burlesque. We're not on a campus, Christy. And then we'll have some other alternative panels going on, some adult panels. Dave, you're going to facilitate trivia.
Yeah, trivia, and then also some improv after that.
Yeah. Improv. I got hauled on the stage for improv one year with you guys.
You did.
Jenny hauled me up. And it's so much fun to do the improv. And I'm a big fan of improv, and it takes a real skill. And you have such a great audience for it at SiouxperCon because you have all these failed theater kids.
All of which have suggestions.
Very good ones.
Yeah.
Very
you
good
don't have to
suggestions.
go, give me an object.
No, they've got it.
They have several.
Excalibur. Yeah, so that'll go on, and then so that's a lot of fun. I really love that we create that space for adults to just celebrate their fandom. We have a local community partner, Sioux Falls Plumbing. Every year, David, he dresses up as Mario. He has a table in the breezeway. He plays games with people.
Yeah.
I don't know how much business he has gotten from SiouxperCon, but he comes every year. And one of the best things in the world is he does not change out of his costume when he goes to burlesque. So you have Mario sitting in the crowd at burlesque. Which I imagine the man probably did.
I'm already thinking of some lines that might come out of that.
It's me. It's Mario.
All right. How much are tickets? I know you do some weekend passes, as well as the individual days, and then let's talk about hours as well.
Okay. So right now until 11:59 tonight, you can buy pre-sale tickets at $10 for a day pass, $30 for a weekend pass. We have combinations where you can get a Saturday day pass plus burlesque or a Friday day pass plus wrestling. Otherwise, wrestling and burlesque are both $25 general admission. $50 gets you VIP, gets you front of the stage, gets you around the ring for wrestling, front of the stage for burlesque. Kids 10 and under are free. That will always be, so long as I'm part of SiouxperCon, kids 10 and under will walk through the door free. I think that's important. Dollar gets stretched, and we want kids to come out and have fun, so we're going to give those kids a free pass. Now, day of, we're still pretty cheap, Dave. We're $15.
Oh, no doubt.
So that's a Starbucks and a pack of Marbs.
Yeah.
So $15 gets you in for the day. We do honor the $30 weekend pass throughout the weekend. You can buy that. You can buy that on walk up. We're using the box office this year. Previous years we've set up a ticketing table. We've gotten big enough now that we're going to fill all 8 of those box office windows with will call, photo opportunity purchases, and walk up. So you'll come in the main arena doors, and we'll have the box office right there. Hours, Friday, all the vendors come in. Tomorrow I start picking up guests at the airport already. Everybody flying in. So Friday we're going to run 3 to midnight. Box office opens at 2. The arena will be open, and inside the arena we'll have Wild Bill Soda, Fear Asylum Escape Room, Ghostbusters, Herbie the Love Bug, and the Mystery Machine, the Nebraska Mystery Machine, which is a replica of the Scooby-Doo Mystery Machine, plus the 501st Legion, plus South Dakota Superheroes and Villains, and a new partner with us this year. It's a charity that I met in Minneapolis called Scares That Care. And they're a horror charity that supports helps people that have been victims of domestic violence.
Wow.
So I'm like, will you please come and I'll give you a table, because I really believe in their cause. So they're going to table there as well. So that'll be open at 2 o'clock, so you'll be able to have some photo opportunities, interact with some of those fans. Then Saturday, opening ceremonies at 10 in the arena. Vendor doors open at 11. We go till midnight. And, we'll pull 5,000 people that day, easy. And that's low estimate. And then Sunday, go to church, get some brunch, and then come and enjoy us from 10 until 5. 10 until 5 on Sunday. That's Dakota News Now Family Day. All the programming on Sunday is very family-oriented. Story time with Wilbur. Mr. Twister, face painting. We'll have a lot of STEM stuff. The Mythbusters are back again this year, which is fantastic. So they'll be doing science throughout the weekend. We have Nick Palma, who was Michelangelo in the 90s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies, and he'll be in full costume throughout the weekend. And talk about multi-generational.
True.
Turtles have been around since the 80s.
Whoever thought that would last that long?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I remember when it was a black and white indie published comic book in 1986. My RA in Young Hall at South Dakota State University, he and his dad owned a comic book shop in Huron, South Dakota. His name was Bob, and I'll never remember his last name, but he turned me on to the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, and they were self-published. And now it's one of the biggest franchises. Incredible. Toys, movies, Nickelodeon, you name it, Lego sets, you name it. We've got the Kids Zone, bricks and minifigures, the Sioux Falls sponsoring the Kids Zone. We've got Lego building, the Magic of Travis Nye, First Lego League. Like I said, face painting, balloon twisting, tons of arts and crafts. We have a quiet room there, so if you get overwhelmed, we've got bean bags and noise-canceling headphones, changing and nursing station there. So it's a very safe area for the Kids Zone. So yeah, that's Sunday. Dakota News Now, great partners, come in and sponsor our Family Day again this year. So yeah, and then at 5 o'clock we do closing ceremonies, thank everyone, and introduce the theme for 2024. Yeah, and we've got a killer theme and a really big kick. a really big kick for, and I'm not going to spoil. Bad as I want to.
I was just going to say, I don't have the feeling I get to pull this out.
Oh, it's what we're going to do in 2024 is pretty freaking cool. I'll just say that. It's been a dream of mine.
Go with that, then.
It's been a dream of mine since year one.
Cool. Yeah.
It's been a dream of mine since year one to pull this off, and we're going to do it in 2024. So it took me 9 years to get my dream to come true at SiouxperCon, and next year, I'll just stop because I really want to tell you.
All right. So then we'll stop and end with the typical 2 questions. And, of course, the first question sometimes means we don't need to ask the second, depending upon how you answer. When you are not part of the entertainment and arts scene, what do you like to be entertained by?
Oh, my goodness. So many things. But, really for me, music. And such a strange musical mix, So I'm a big fan of 80s new wave. It's what I grew up with.
Okay.
My bride just took me to see The Cure this summer. I got to see Robert Smith and The Cure in St. Paul. They were on my bucket list. Last time they were in the cities, the week before that, Duran Duran was there, which is my wife's all-time favorite group. So I took her. This time she made sure that I saw The Cure. So that 80s new wave.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm a big fan of the Avett Brothers and that really great bluegrass folk. I'm also a fan of Minneapolis hip-hop, like Atmosphere. So it's all over. But when I need to decompress, when I need to just get out of my own head and relax, I can pick any one piece of my vinyl or pull something up on my phone and just be taken away by that. Reading, not just comic books, reading. I will devour a book. When I find a book I love, it's 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm still up going, what am I doing? Because I need to be at work at 7, But yeah, so that's it. Reading and music have forever, as long as I can remember. I'm reading music. Sundays at my house growing up, we always had albums on. And they would, Motown, my mom loved Motown. So it'd be like Motown, and then my dad would have a Stones record on. Motown, and my dad would have a Doobies record on. You'd have a stack of records, like 3 inches thick, that would
with
drop.
That tall needle in the middle, yes.
That would drop one by one. So we'd go from, the Temptations to the Stones, from the Four Tops to the Doobie Brothers, from Diana Ross and the Supremes to the Beatles. Then a little Kenny Rogers in the first edition would be thrown in, So just, Bobby Goldsboro, just so always.
Well, my bride just had to get a Bobby Sherman album here.
Oh, nice.
Recently.
Yeah. Perfect. Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I grew up with it, and Dad would bring home 45s from me from the bar. So he had a beauty shop, and then he worked at a bar his whole life. And so he'd bring me home the 45s from the jukebox. The guy'd be like, you guys want these? So I'd had all those old 45s. There was way before lip syncing was a thing. It was me, Blaine Terrell, and David Kringen. We would do Jan and Dean and the Beach Boys performances in my bedroom. We're like 3rd and 4th graders. And then reading as well has just always been a big thing for me, Dave. Right. So,
any other hobbies then?
Cooking. My go-to dish that I make. I make a pretty fantastic pulled pork, Dave.
Oh.
In fact, the week after SiouxperCon, I have the pleasure of performing the wedding ceremony for my niece, Brittany, and for Thursday night for the rehearsal, I'm making my pulled pork. One of the greatest compliments I've ever gotten in my life. I did pulled pork for a friend of mine's wedding, and it was in the middle of nowhere, Nebraska. I mean, freaking middle of nowhere, in this little country church up on a prairie hill where they got married, and they had a rodeo guy that brought them on their in a wagon to the farm where we had the reception. And he ate my pulled pork, and he was a rodeo clown. And he toured all over, and he said, this is the best pulled pork I've ever had in my life. Now, pulled pork is served at rodeos.
Yeah.
So that right there. So I've got to go to. I've got my secret rub that I use, and low and slow, and then bring it up and finish it. Get that nice sear, and then get that bark and shred it. So yeah, that's my go-to. I'm pretty good at that. I do a good soup. I do a good homemade soup. Just made tomato basil soup for the boy and I. Canned a bunch of it with our tomatoes this year.
Did you do brisket?
I have. I don't do brisket a lot because I can get a hold of Pat McIntyre and have some of his.
Serving Janitor Bob.
Right, exactly. He's an amazing. What's really cool, Terry Taylor.
Yes.
So Terry is our first vendor guest. So 1313 Mockingbird Lane, the toy store that he owns down in Lawrence, Kansas, was featured on the Toys That Made Us on Nickelodeon. So he's coming up. Friday, he'll be doing SiouxperCon. Saturday day, he'll be doing SiouxperCon. Saturday night, he's inducted in the South Dakota Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a promoter. And then Sunday back doing SiouxperCon. Pretty big weekend for Terry.
Not bad, huh?
Not a bad gig. Not a bad gig. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Well, we are looking forward to a great gig called SiouxperCon. Friday afternoon, it starts up, goes through the weekend. Enjoy it out at the Sioux Falls Convention Center and Arena. Basically, every square inch of both of those buildings will be taken up. All right, Shane, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, David.
And we'll be back to finish up the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment.
Check out the new ceramic studio in Sioux Falls, conveniently located off Kiwanis Avenue on 5th Street. TJS Ceramics inside Oscar's Mini Storage. Bisque, studio time, painting parties, and finished items are available. Visit TJS Ceramic Studio in Sioux Falls today.
Ladies, when it's time to give your nails some love, get that extra special treatment from Quality Nails on South Minnesota Avenue in Sioux Falls. Manicures and pedicures that look great and make you feel fantastic. Zaya and Tony provide professional care for your hands and feet, whether you just want the basics or an extra special look with added flair. Oh, and guys, it's okay to treat yourself too. Quality Nails. Call for an appointment. 605-334-1463.
He's never met a meal he didn't like. Here he is, Dave Holly.
Thanks again to our guests, Helen Andrade and Shane Gerlach.
As always, biggest thanks goes to you for listening and for the downloads, for sharing and following on social media, and the cups of coffee. Now, if you haven't done so far, follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Now, for all 199 episodes, go online, DaveHollyHour.com. Stop by the Big D Entertainment booth at SiouxperCon this weekend and say hello. We'll have some merch available for you to pick up. And as the Sioux Falls Arts Council says, together we art. As Arts South Dakota says, home is where the art is. As I say, put some art in your heart. Remember, my name is Dave Holly, and for me, every day is a holiday.
Dave Holly Hour has been brought to you by TJS Ceramics Studio, Posh Boutique, The Sky & Tea, XL Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Jesse Moffitt Entertainment, and the Sioux Falls Arts Council. If you would like to contribute to the continued success of this podcast, simply buy Dave a cup of coffee. Go to DaveHollyHour.com and click on the coffee cup icon. Don't forget to stay up to date on the show by following on Instagram and Facebook. The Dave Holly Hour is produced in the Dipsy Doodle Studios by Big D Entertainment.
Thanks for listening.